All right, and welcome to Casey Needs a Co-host Zoomvivor edition. This is our deep dive podcast. Today we'll be going over season 5, episode 3, A Watchful Eye. And today my co-host is Nikki. How you doing today?
Hi everyone. I'm doing great. I hope everyone's doing okay. I hope everyone's already watched the episode of Zoomvivor season 5. How are you doing today, Casey?
Oh, thank you. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I'm so excited to have you on. And I mean, I kind of told you a little bit before, but you definitely were one of my favorites for Z3.
Aw.
You were, cut too soon, unfortunately. But hopefully I get to see you again. Or maybe if I get to see you in just another org in general, I think that will be, really great. You have such a great energy, and especially with Z3, you had such great gameplay. And I think overall, you were the one that was bringing all this entertainment. Like you're a little fiery. I like it.
I was actually joking to the cast, hey, I got eliminated, so I guess you guys have to work double time now to find something interesting to put on, huh? But anyway, I'm kidding aside. I am kind of really, really, really hopeful that if they do All Stars, hey, James, come on. If you guys can, like, watch this, hey, I'm here, I'm ready. Just give me a message.
Oh,
I'm right there.
I hope he does. I really do. And if not, I mean, maybe there's always the second chance as well.
Second chances, always
Yeah.
fun.
I mean, we have a lot of really good contenders for second chances, but I think you have to be at the top of that list for
Oh
Z3.
yeah, Jesus Christ. Not really saying, oh yeah, definitely me. I think Brandon should be on there definitely because as far as I know, he also had a busy schedule that time. But he still made time to play. And then of course he got cut too soon. He started a trend and now here we are.
Yeah. So I guess on that note, we're going to just jump into this episode. So I mean, we're just going to follow the general flow of,
hmm
this episode. So let's kind of start off with the aftermath of last episode.
Yeah, I mean, wow, Andres cut too soon. Oh my goodness. Well, I can't really say too soon considering that he had a target on his back like from episode 1, but Manu is now on the Moata tribe, and is he half Filipino? Did he mention that he was half Filipino? I think I kind of
I it would be pretty shitty if I say that he isn't, but I no, I mean, like, he's from Paraguay, so I'm
uh-huh.
99% sure not. I mean, he said he's from Latin America, but
I
if he's
thought
half
I heard him.
Filipino,
Yeah.
yeah,
That would
if
be
he's half
crazy.
Filipino, that's like really bad on my part for not knowing that. But no, I'm fairly certain he's not.
Okay, good. Because I was like, I thought I heard him say something about that because he was saying something about how everyone in his tribe is currently Filipino. So, and they just got rid of Andres. So like he's got a target on his back too. He better prove himself. Like, boy, you
Yeah.
better bring it.
But I mean, clearly though, there is a nice division in that tribe though. I
Mm.
mean, you think that, there's all those Filipinos, that it's going to be this all Filipino alliance, but clearly that's not. And then you also had, the whole, Ming voting for Bad's
Oh
vote.
yeah, dude, that was crazy. Like, okay, first of all, I thought they were gonna stick with the Visayas alliance.
Mhm.
And then out comes the Moata 5 alliance. And now there's like a new player in the game. So God knows what's happening. And then of course Ming voting for Bads. Like, is Bads gonna be getting his karma soon? Like, I know a lot of people are starting to see him as one of the villains because he's very outspoken, but I do like his gameplay.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, if you've listened to the other two podcasts, I've said the same thing. I think
Mm-hmm.
at this point, I mean, Andres was also one of my favorites, but Bads is definitely my favorite, because he's smart. And I think he's a likable villain. He's not a villain
Yes.
that you just purely hate. And I also have given
Mm-hmm.
him I'm just going to call it the Zoomy, but I've given him the Zoomy Award 2 episodes in a row for his good gameplay. But now people have clocked him. People have picked him up as a target. And it's very
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate.
Well, it can't be helped because you really do have to start like playing as soon as possible. But unfortunately, because everyone else in his tribe is not exactly stepping up to the plate, like what I guess he just picked up the reins. And unfortunately, picking up the reins means the spotlight is on you.
Yeah. And with him too, you saw that one of his close allies is also clocked him and is now,
Mm,
said that they're gonna, ride his coattails, in which this is Charlene, obviously. But I
mm-hmm.
also really like her because, like, even though I was on production for this season, if you have people like, no, not people like, if you have James, Jumed, Ellis, and Rain, who probably know everything that happened in the season, I know like 10 to 15% of what happened.
Oh
So
my
the vast
goodness.
majority of this information is new to me. And this is exciting to be able to watch these episodes like this, you know?
Mhm. You
So
could be
this,
part of the crew, but still, like, not see everything 100% unless you're the one doing cutting the videos and doing productions and stuff. So, like, it's super great that you get to enjoy this along with us.
yeah, and like I said, it's just immensely fun to be able to be a viewer, but also be, on production. And I always thought to myself, because I'm in like the film industry and stuff like that, I always thought like, oh, it'd be really cool to work on Survivor. But then I thought to myself, would I want that? Because then I would never be able to view Survivor as a fan again. But if it was like this experience, then maybe I would,
Mm-hmm,
So,
definitely.
but
Yeah, I mean, go
I'm
on.
sorry. No,
Sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead. I interrupted you.
Oh, I mean, definitely. I mean, because most of the time you see Survivor when you watch the show, it's always fun, and of course they're like cutting stuff and doing programming, and you make basically the production team makes the villains, the heroes, the whatnots in the game, like the goat, like a follower. Are you just the number? It all rests on you guys. But like the way you guys do it right now is so well done that not even the production people even know what's happening 100% of the time. No one really knows.
Yeah. Oh man, I just love it. I love this season so far. And I mean, even though my season was last season, I love this season much more. And
Yeah.
I hate to say that because that was my season, but I mean, you can't deny the season's really good.
I
So,
know. I'm like kind of biased. Of course, I'm biased because, season 3, but mostly because my group is like really great. Like my co-players are like really really great and we're still very much in touch up until now. Um and then of course season 4 came around and we were like, "Why didn't we Okay, you know what? That's fine." And then season 5 came out and I'm like, "Breakout rooms? Are you kidding? We didn't even have that. We just had Messenger. This isn't fair. This is why I got screwed over and now you guys have to."
I love you. I love you. Where have you been all my life? Like, seriously. Oh my gosh. All right. So, before we get to the challenge, we'll just kind of discuss the other side for a second. You think there's anything super noteworthy there?
Speaking of getting screwed over because Messenger is not active, guess who's constantly complaining that Erica and Kira are not messaging him? Costas! He's freaking out about it. Oh my goodness. He's like, "Why are they not messaging me?" I'm like, "Oh no, oh no, oh no, Erica. I really love Erica. She's adorable. She's, I guess, in a weird way. I guess I like her because she's kind of like me. Is it safe to say that?"
I don't see that, but if you see that, power
No,
to
I
you.
mean, like, she's trying to like get everyone to start talking. She's trying to connect with people, but she's not messaging them. And that's the part where I'm like, "Oh, she's like me. I didn't even like I was too scared to touch my phone because I didn't even know that you're allowed to do messenger stuff. I thought everything has to be through Zoom." So
Oh, really?
yeah, because okay. First of all, Zoomvivor was the very first Survivor game I've ever played. Never done minis. I've never done orgs. I didn't even know that the Survivor community in the Philippines is like huge. So I just joined Zoomvivor because my friend was like, "Hey, I'm playing this game online. You should give it a shot." And I'm like, "All right, sure." So I get into the game. I read the rules, and I'm like, "Okay." But I didn't even think that people like, yeah, sure, Matt and like Mommy Debbie was like messaging me like stuff, but I didn't even know that you can discuss like stuff like that on Messenger. It never popped into my head. I'm an idiot.
I mean, that it makes sense though, especially if it's your first one as well. But for at least these, Z5 people, I feel like they should have at least on their, if they haven't, I mean, Erica, I know she's watched the other seasons, but you should at least seen, especially in your season, that is important to do. And I mean, I know for Z4, literally the second the marooning happened, I think before we even divided into our tribes, we all added each other on Facebook. That way there was no way we would end up in each other's spam folders or anything like that.
Do you
And
have a feeling that maybe Costas's messages are on the spam folder for Erica?
I mean, I feel like they had to have been, because if they're not friends on Facebook, which I believe he did say they're not friends on Facebook, it's got to go somewhere. And I mean, I get messages all the time from, orgs that I apply to and just people in general, especially now with the podcast. I've had actually a number of people reach out and tell me how much they like the podcast. So I just have the habit of checking my, messenger spam folder at this point. But yeah, it has to be in there. So,
All right. Speaking of Costas freaking out, all right, the Totally Spies Alliance, the Boys Alliance. What? I'm like,
I kind of like it. It's interesting to see those three, and I felt, and we'll kind of dive into it a little bit more in a second. But I will say I do like their little alliance name, and
so
they
cute.
are outnumbered. But once again, we'll dive into it in just a bit. But there isn't really gender division in this tribe, as we clearly have seen. But
That's true.
Before we do get to that, though, let's come back to the challenge really quick. So what did you think of the challenge? Because I wasn't there. This is the first time I even know what happened at the challenge.
All right. So the challenge, the landmarks around the world, I believe. I'm like, oh, okay, this should be pretty interesting. Honestly, I thought I would ace it. But then I saw the photos and I'm like, where the heck are all of these from? Like, I was surprised. I was honestly surprised. And Simon, oh, poor Simon.
Yeah. I mean, right off the bat, he was the only one that knew that initial answer. And I mean, I wrote it in my notes as well for this episode, because like I said, I hadn't seen the challenge. I wasn't there. I don't remember anything about that challenge, really, if we talked about it before the season started as production. But I'm looking at those pictures because I'm thinking it's going to be famous landmarks similar to what happened in your season. And I'm just like, what is this? How did they get this? And I mean, I know James does for the sake of, pacing and stuff like that. I think he does edit the challenges down, but I was like, how did people know that was China or Indonesia or this, that, or the other?
Laos or,
yeah. So I mean, yeah, it was weird. But like, once I heard that Kat did say after the challenge was like, yeah, you can reverse image search it, which I mean, I know that exists, but in the constraints, they don't exactly tell you what the constraints of the challenge is. So yeah, I mean,
1 minute. They have 1 minute to do all of that. So 1 minute. And since they didn't say what the constraints are, you didn't even know if you could actually screen grab, reverse search, and plus that's a lot of things to do, especially if you're not playing on a laptop, which I know most of them are, but still, there's still that chance. Like, I believe Kat is working at that time, right? She's in the office.
So if I remember correctly, I don't know if she was actually working, but I know she was at her office. I think. Yeah, I mean, I know she's at her office, but I don't know if she was working.
Yeah, well, in general, for us, if you go to the office, you're quote unquote working because you're there. But yeah, so it's really hard for a lot of people. And Simon going, they didn't listen to me. I know that place. They didn't listen to me. I'm like, yeah, buddy, I know. I understand. I feel that way sometimes too. But thankfully, when I played my season, like, I didn't have to worry about stuff like that because I mean, come on, I'm pretty loud. As Jumed always says, I quack like a duck. So like, it's kind of hard to ignore me.
Aside from that, though, in the challenge, like, I think the challenge was kind of overall straightforward. I felt as if it was a little difficult, but I mean, it's just unfortunate that the one tribe lost and that Simon had the right answer. Not that it would have made a difference in the end, but
that's true.
He's the only one that was an asset.
Yeah, but Manu, like, stepped up to the plate. He wanted to prove that he can be a huge help to this tribe, and he did, because he's like, okay, I guess I'm representing. Okay, I know this place. Okay, we're gonna do this, and he did. So good for him. Pat on the back. Like, yeah, good job, buddy.
That's exactly what he needed. Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. Coming out of exile too, which I'm kind of curious. So, even though it's a thing about last episode, what did you think about the exile twist? Because I
Oh my
know
gosh.
as Survivor fans, like I don't know if you're on Survivor Reddit, but Exile and like Redemption Island, like those types of twists are always very divided within the fan base. So I'm just kind of curious what you thought about Exile for this season.
I honestly, okay, when they were doing the schoolyard pick, I was like, okay, um, I guess I guess Andres and Manu are gonna like, pick each other, but that didn't happen. And then I was like, okay, so Manu's on his own now. So I guess, he gets to choose which tribe he will go with. That didn't happen either. He got sent to exile, and I'm like, oh, you know what? In a weird way for me, if I was in Manu's shoes, I would think that's a half glass full situation. Because, first of all, if you're in exile, it's guaranteed 100% you're going to get something. I don't know why, but you got
More or
to get
less, yeah.
something for being thrown into exile, right? So, either advantage, either an idol, or, intel. And lo and behold, he got an advantage. And it's a pretty good one, too. He gets to swap. So let's see how he plays that in the future, though. I hope it helps him out. But yeah, also in a weird way, as he mentioned during the game, it can be kind of a disadvantage because you're not allowed to socialize. But then again, the tribe that he got thrown into, they're not exactly very welcoming, as they all mentioned at the beginning of the program. We might be Filipinos, we are super hospitable, but it's a survivor game. Yeah, we can be hospitable, but we will stab you in the back.
Yep. Let's just hope they're more welcoming to him than Andres. But I think once again with the Andres thing, it was he painted himself a target in the first episode, which just
Mm,
even made it easier as a target for the second episode. You don't
I
have to
guess.
ruffle
Yeah,
anything, you know?
that's true. And Manu's already proven himself useful. So
Yeah.
he's got that. Yeah. And
And
of course, Ming and Bads are already starting to like divide the tribe. So numbers.
yeah. And I mean, I'm starting to like Ming. I wasn't really sure what all was there, if she really knew what was going on at first, but I think
Mm-hmm.
she does. I'm starting to warm up to her, so I'm very curious to see, what'll happen in the next episode or forward.
Same. Honestly, I was kind of happy that Mauta won this particular challenge and Arakoa lost because I really wanted them to like I the spotlight last episode was all on Moata. So like everyone's like, okay, so we already know these people, but what's happening on the other side? Like I didn't even know, like, is Danny even there? Like, is she playing? What's going on? Like I know Costas is there because he like stripped naked, but like, but yeah, I'm kind of glad in a weird way, although someone is gonna go home, that Arakoa lost this one because now we get to know them.
Yeah, 100% I agree with that. And generally speaking, I feel like as a viewer, I like to see tribes go back and forth between tribal council
Mm-hmm.
cuz yeah, you get much more information that comes out of it cuz the strategizing or the fact that they're forced to strategize pulls something out of them, mentally
Mm-hmm.
as characters that you get to see and is very entertaining and sometimes is very humanizing. So yeah, I was happy that they went there, or they ended up going to tribal council. Moata is, if that's how you say it. I always really never sure how to say the names.
Same.
Um, they're actually, I think, generally speaking, though, they have the people that are my favorites on their tribe anyway. With the two standouts for me being Bads and Bing. Um, but yeah, on the other tribe though, which you mentioned, I'm sorry, did you say it was Danny? You said you weren't sure if he
Yeah,
was playing or
Danny. I
not.
wasn't even sure. Also, Callie, I believe. Kira, sorry, my
Here,
bad. See,
well,
I
that was actually the point that I was just about to make. You said that for Danny. I myself was thinking in the first now 3 episodes, what is she doing? And even her own tribe said that like she's there, but
but she's
she's
not.
not.
She's so
So
disconnected.
yeah,
She's so disconnected. And it's like bothering me so much as a viewer. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Like,
yeah.
come on, get in the game. I don't know. Maybe there's something brewing on her side that is keeping us in suspense. But like, girl.
But with that though, despite you not hearing a whole lot of her, in the tribe call or whatever, you did actually get a nice lengthy portion of her speaking at tribal council, which was
Yes.
really the first time you got something very insightful from her. Now,
True.
I know for the most part she is, if I remember back to my cast assessments correctly, she didn't actually start playing until literally like the day the US went into lockdown, which I believe was March 14th. We're about to come up on that year date now. So she's still kind of new, but I know she's played games. And actually, a couple of the other communities that I'm a part of, I actually saw that she recently was just in a game. And she started that game around the time we were doing Zoomvivor. I think it might have been a couple days after. So she definitely plays games. So maybe she's got the lay low kind of strategy, you know?
I don't know, because she's been saying a lot that she's gonna, partner up with the Americans. I'm just gonna rely on the Americans. Like, for me, it doesn't rub me in the right direction. Like, girl, I understand because, I've played with them too. That's basically where we started, like, no borders, right? But also at the same time, you can't just rely on a group of people. I mean, trust, yes. And this was asked during tribal council. Trust is very important in Survivor, but, and there's a big but, um you have you have to trust yourself first, and you have to depend not on other people that you feel like you can connect with, but you got to depend on yourself. You can't just, oh, okay, I like them, I'm gonna go hang out with them. What if they don't want to hang out with you, girl? What are you
Yeah.
gonna do then? You're gonna get thrown out. That's not, no, no. You have to move.
Yeah, and I mean, I on my season was, very in support of not basing it off of nationality, or even more specifically, in my season, it was really white people versus Filipinos.
I know.
There weren't any people of color. So I was really against all of that. I want to get to know people for who they are and build trust and loyalty off of that. Now, I will say with Kira though, and maybe this is once again me misremembering it from the cast assessments, Kira is not actual. Well, okay, she was born in India, but I don't. She was born in India, but I believe she was adopted when she was a baby. So she grew up in America. So for all intents and purposes, she's American. But she did
Okay.
also go to an international school where she met people from a bunch of other countries. So I think that's probably why she was making that point, was that she probably feels more kindred to Americans because she grew up in America. So I think that's why she was making that point.
Okay, okay, understandable, understandable. But yeah, I guess in general, I just wish she would try a little bit more. Well, I guess she got into Arakoa tribe, which is basically where everyone else is. So, at least she doesn't have to, like. Well, I wish that she would work with Kat and Danny. I don't know. I feel like they would hit it off. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what will happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we have much more, twists and turns around the corner. So who knows?
True, true, true. So, what's the alliances now? Kat, Sherry, Mish, and then there's the well, of course, Sherry and
Mitch.
Dakota.
Did you say Mitch? Who's Mitch?
No, no, no. Not Mitch. Um,
Well,
God.
I think it's what we know so far. It's Sherry, Dakota, and Erica. You had Kira because the four of them voted for Simon. And
Uh
then
huh.
Kostas is definitely there as well. So they have the majority. And once again, it's not gender based at all, as we could clearly see.
Mm-hmm.
And then the others were Kat,
Of course.
Danny, and we thought Kat, Danny, and Simon, but obviously Simon got blindsided.
And then,
Um,
of course, the Totally Spies, which Simon is now.
Now gone. So
hmm So it's not women based, not at all. Like, it's actually, now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever seen a game ever where the women banded together to get rid of the guys.
It's very rare. And I think the
It
thing about it
is.
is that oftentimes for some reason it's some weird societal like backwardsness. Women are villainized and they're scrutinized for,
Mm,
having these all-female alliances when men do that all the time. It's
hmm
kind of bullshit. Like
I know. It's like,
it's
oh
a
my
double
god.
standard, but yeah, I mean, there have been a couple all female alliances in Survivor history. I think the most famous one is the Black Widow Brigade.
The Black Widow Brigade, of course, of
Yeah.
course. But I mean, like in org games, you don't see
Oh,
it quite often. No, I've never seen it at all. And I've ever since I started playing for Zoomvivor, I've been invited to join a lot of orgs and play in a couple of games. So it's very rare that I see that. But I kind of feel bad for the girls because they're like, oh, they might be getting starting an alliance, but like, no, not at all. First of all, I don't think Sherry would allow it because Sherry and Dakota being like that.
yeah. I feel like the Sherry Dakota thing reminds me very much of my season where you had Lee, Lauren, Anthony, Melissa. They all knew each other, and I think Melissa and Anthony, they I don't know about Lauren, but I very much feel like they felt as if Lee was like a child to them, their
Oh,
own kid, which is really sweet. I mean, and I get that feeling with Sherry too. But the issue with that is when you're coming into a game like that, it blinds you to all other
yeah,
possibilities because you're
true.
so adamant in sticking to those. And that was something we even discussed on the first podcast when I was talking to Rain. Like, there are people that come into it being like, all right, pre-existing relationships, they can't really be a thing because then that's going to blind us to the possibilities, which is true. But I think that's what the situation is. Sherry
And
will probably fight to the end of the earth to keep
keep
Dakota around.
Dakota. I mean, I think I'm not sure if it happened last episode or the first episode. No, wait, it was last episode when Sherry was like, I like Erica. I have respect for Erica. No offense to the girl, but she gotta go because Erica and Dakota are starting to like bond together because of the fact that they're both from Missouri. so so like that's already a negative effect on it,
Yeah.
I think. Personally. I don't know. And then there's of course the Simon Cat Danny situation voting Kira out, which I totally understand because, like you mentioned, she needs to start moving. And then there's Costas putting a gigantic target on Erica's back. I'm starting to think
Yeah.
it's detrimental for him, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I get that feeling too. I think the thing is, I like Costas, but I think he is playing a little too emotionally. Because, initially when you hear him talking about, she's not messaging me, not responding, this, that, and the other, which clearly, as we know as viewers, is not
Really the
Erica.
point.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Erica doesn't dislike him at all. Clearly, once again, it's in his spam folder, but he's getting a little too emotional over it. And I think he needs to think logically. So initially, it seems like it's a logical thing, but clearly, we can see from his demeanor that he's a little upset. He's a little hurt about it. And
I'm starting to worry for Costas because I actually really like Costas, but him pushing for Erica a little too hard is starting to make the others think that he's a liability. So he better get his, stuff straight. Otherwise, it might cost him the game. It really might.
yeah,
I know Dakota's getting pissed.
yeah. Dakota's an interesting one. I'm really liking Dakota. You
Political
know,
science major, like he's studying it. He's literally like that is his livelihood. That's what he's studying in college. That's where he's gonna go, I'm guessing, once he graduates. So this is a very nice basically arena for him to train in and play in before he goes out there into the real world.
yeah, we want to see him use his knowledge. That's the big thing because you have oftentimes people who have these awesome degrees and things that they're studying in, but they don't apply it at all to the situation at hand. But before we kind of wind down on things, I just want to talk about Simon for a quick second. At the end of the day, can we just agree that Simon really didn't do anything wrong except for the fact
Mm,
that he clearly went into a breakout room to go search for an idol, which I don't know how Zoomvivor actually deals with their hidden immunity idols, but at least in the game of Survivor, there's usually one hidden immunity idol per tribe. And Simon found the QR code already and he
Mm-hmm.
gave it to Kostas, which he doesn't
Yep.
know that Kostas has it. But I think he should get the idea that that's gone now, you
I
know?
find it so weird that he actually announced to people that the QR code is in this particular breakout room. Go get it. You think
Yeah.
someone's going to use that to save you?
No.
It's not, buddy. And I don't know, maybe he's trying to win brownie points and get people to like him. You don't really know, but point of the
Yeah.
matter is he couldn't solve it. So I guess he's hoping that somebody else would solve it and
Yeah.
win him brownie points and take him in as a member of their alliance. But as Dakota said, I will cut your throat. Simon, you said that specifically for Simon. I will cut your throat.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I mean, it all worked against him in the end. Um so, and I would also like with the whole puzzle to get the idol, that Costas had to do. I will be 100% honest. If I came up against that QR code, there's no way I would have solved that problem because when I looked at that problem last episode, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I don't understand that at all. And then when he said that, it was a Mean Girls reference. I forget what the hell it was, but I haven't seen Mean Girls since I was a kid. There's no way I would have gotten that. Like in my
Okay.
season, we had Survivor, themed questions, So even if I forgot something, which I did in one of the hidden immunity eyes, I forgot who it was they were talking about. I just could search it up really quick.
I watched Mean Girls recently, but I cannot for the life of me. How is that? Wait, how is that a mean? No limits or something.
Something like that. There is no limit. I don't know. People
There
are
is
probably
no
gonna kill
limit.
me that I don't know that or
It's
kill us, but
same. Um,
I haven't, like I said,
Honestly,
yeah.
when I saw it, I was like, oh boy, there's a reason why I'm not an accountant, okay? Um, Second, or a physicist, or a doctor, or whatever. But when I saw it and Simon said it's a limit equation, my first thought was no limits. And I'm pretty sure if I just Google limit equations real quick, I'll be able to find it. But he didn't. He tried to math it, which is,
Yeah.
cute, but if you're not familiar with the formulae, don't bother.
Yeah. I mean, I used to be pretty good in math back in high school and college, but I haven't really done anything like that in so many years that even if that was a normal like non-Mean Girls reference, I wouldn't have gotten that. Straight up. I just really wouldn't have. I would have been screwed.
I, at one point, paid my classmate to tutor me. I was that bad at mathematics.
I mean, some people aren't that good. I think it's all a matter of it's a way that you look at math. Most of math is, formulas. There is, it's
Memorization involved.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's all it really is at the end of the day. And then it's, basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Like, but anyway, I mean, not to
Yeah.
diverge too far. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess, once again, winding things down, let's jump to the Zoomy Award. So as for myself, I have no one listed right now because I'm having a little trouble, deciphering who deserves that award. The person I think I come the closest with right now is Dakota. He is the central part of the alliance. He was a
Mm-hmm.
part of the majority to get rid of Simon,
Mm-hmm.
and he made the smart move of it's you or it's my girl Erica, and clearly he chose his girl Erica. So I mean, I'm gonna say probably Dakota, deserves the Zoomy. What do you think?
Um, okay. For the entire episode, I would have to give it to Manu.
Okay, let's
I
hear
would
it.
have to give it to Manu because first of all, he came in from exile. He had no social whatsoever. And he came in there, he did his job, he made, you know, Mauta win. Um and basically I'm not even sure if he's back in good graces, but he's done his job and has given us the gold, which is you know Arakoa immunity. But if we're talking just for the whole tribal thing, yeah, I would give it to Dakota. But I'm kind of like over the whole, he's kind of like the bads of Arakoa.
In
So,
terms of villain or in terms of
no,
power structure?
power structure.
Okay.
Not villain. I wouldn't say villain. I think just like, just like, gosh, my tongue is tied right now. Just like Costas, he's kind of emotional too. He is.
Yeah,
I
I
can
can see
I
that. I can
can
see that.
I can feel it. Like he's emotional as well. Like there's no way in hell he's dropping, Erica because they've bonded over growing up in the same hometown. But for the entire episode, I would have to give it to Mano.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess on that note, do you have any final thoughts for the episode before we conclude all this?
It's going to be super interesting what's gonna happen. Like blindside after blindside after blindside. We've got three blindsides in a row. I wonder what's going to happen next on the next episode. I am so excited to see it. I can't wait for Wednesday. It's crazy. I love it. I'm loving it, even though I should be biased with season 3. I'm loving it. I hate it.
I completely agree, though. Like I said, I do love this season.
I
Um,
love the prod. Thank you guys so much for all your hard work. You guys are doing so much better. And I'm kind of jelly. Like, I half hate you guys because we didn't get half of what these guys are getting right now.
all right. Well, on that note, thank you, everyone who is tuned in. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you can, please share this podcast as well. It'd be very appreciated. Please tune in next, will probably be about a day or two after Wednesday, but tune into the next podcast. We have a very, very special guest. I'm very excited for everyone to tune in for. So on that note, have a good day, guys.